show. My name's Andy Brassell. We're going to be looking back at some of the weekend's action and some of the major title contenders in some of Europe's big leagues. Now, the first of those is Manchester United. They, of course, lost to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the big English Premier League crunch. Now, even though this, from this point, means Manchester United are 5 points behind Chelsea, I don't think this needs to be the end of their challenge, and I think United showed more than enough in this game to suggest that they can go on and have a real influence on what hopefully will be a really open title race. I think they were the better team for much of the game. They controlled the tempo. Their five-man midfield was very important, both in stifling Chelsea and creating the chances that they had, in which Wayne Rooney was outstanding in the last third of the field as well. And I think this really is the way for United to go with this five-man midfield in the biggest matches. A lot of people have suggested that a lot of their best European performances in the 21st century have been with that extra man in midfield, and whereas the 4-4-2 might still work against some of the weaker opposition, this is the way to go in the big games, I think. Now also I think there's a lot of potential for what they can bring on from the rest of the squad. Now both, I think, Gabriel Oberton, who we'll talk a little bit about later when we get to viewer questions, and Michael Owen are players who I think could have an influence as the season goes on. Luis Antonio Valencia is already growing in stature, so I think this bodes pretty well for them. Now, if we go across to France, another title challenger, Lyon, who, like Manchester United, qualified for the last 16 of the Champions League with a late draw in the week. They played on Sunday night against Marseille in a top of the table clash, which turned out to be the game of the season in France. A 5-5 draw, absolutely unprecedented, swinging one way and another. Lyon leading twice in the first half, Marseille coming back from 2-1 down to lead 4-2 with just 10 minutes left. Lyon then taking the initiative against a lead 5-4 before conceding an injury time goal, which turned out to be what got Marseille a point. Now I think from the swing one way and the other nature of the game, you get a pretty good impression of the fact it was a kind of Jekyll and Hyde performance from Lyon. That they showed amazing spirit. They also showed what incredible quality they have in the attacking third of the pitch. Both Miralem Pjanic, the Bosnian playmaker, and Lisandro outstanding in this game. And the fifth goal, a delightful move involving Pjanic, Bafétimbi Gomis, and finished in fine style by Michel Bastos, the Brazilian, showed exactly the sort of football Lyon can play, quite reminiscent of the winning goal at Anfield scored by Cesar Delgado a couple of weeks ago. On the other hand, at the back, they've got some serious problems. The fact that they've got a sort of patched up defence with Jérémy Toulalan playing in the centre, and they really miss him. Their best midfielder shielding the defence as well. It's clear they're going to have to do some business to strengthen that back line in the January window, because when Hugo Lloris, their fantastic goalkeeper, falls beyond his excellent standards as he did last night, not having a particularly good game for once, the defence can be really exposed. But certainly an entertaining title race, and Marseille still in it as well. Now if we go across to Holland, the leaders in the Eredivisie are still FC Twente. They were going into a big game against Ajax this weekend. Ajax, who've been free scoring so far this season, scoring 40 in their first 12 games going into this. Luis Suarez, the excellent Uruguayan, scoring 16 of those already as well, besides his numerous assists. Now not only did Twente keep their unbeaten record and their top spot, but they won the game and kept a clean sheet as well. I think the trick there is the excellent balance that Steve McLaren has found between experience and young players. The experience, the goalkeeper Sander Boschke, Kenneth Perez, who's played for a lot of big clubs, and Blaise Nkufo, who's been their top scorer for the last 6 seasons, the Swiss international striker. Also they've got young Miroslav Stoch, who's been excellent so far on loan from Chelsea, and Brian Ruiz, who was the scorer of the winning goal against Ajax, and he's already top scorer ahead of Nkufo, so it looks like they're not going to have to rely on him so much. Twente promises, if they're going to be up there for the rest of the season, with what looks like a good PSV side led by Fred Rutten again, and Ajax, of course, who who can't be discounted. So it's a good thing that all over Europe we've got very, very open title races, and it's looking good. Now, we're going to go to a few of your questions now, and thanks for your response. A few of you have written in. We've just picked out a few of those, but keep them coming, and we'll try to include as many as possible over the next couple of weeks. Now, we've got one from Brian Kay here that says, how do you rate Aubertin? As he was loaned out last season and sold for just $3 million, I wasn't expecting much, but his earlier cameos for United suggest he may just be a steal. Thanks for that, Brian. Well, I think you're right. I think he could be a steal. He's only 20 years old still. It's clear that he's developing, and what better place to do that than at Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson, with such a great record of bringing through young players. Aubertin always had the promise. He first got into the Bordeaux team at 17 years old, but I think there was a degree of frustration from Laurent Blanc and the Bordeaux staff that maybe he hadn't fulfilled his potential as quickly as he might have done. He showed little bits, both on loan to Lorient last season and for the French under-21 team. He was excellent against the England under-21s at the City Ground when France won there last March. Because of his pace, he's been, I think, typecast a bit as a winger, where I think he's someone who can do more inside. He's got great vision, great skill, and he can score more goals than he's currently doing as well. I think Ferguson will really take advantage of this, and the fact that Aubertin can play either right side, left side, or in the centre as a second striker is something that can benefit him, and he can develop into a very versatile player for them, which obviously is something United need in the last third of the pitch. Now, we've got a second question here from GT. Thanks for that. It says, Deportivo looking good in 5th place in La Liga. Do they have the quality to push on and challenge Sevilla and Valencia for a Champions League spot? Well, GT, I'm not sure if they do. Miguel Angel Lotina has done an excellent job, very experienced coach. Obviously, Depor had a lot of financial problems stemming from their last great side, Javier Irureta's Super Depor of the late 90s and early part of the 21st century, winning the league in 2000 for the first time in their history. Now, very attacking side, had lots of exciting players, the likes of Roy Mackay, the Dutchman Rivaldo, of course, before he went to Barcelona, Jalmina, Victor Sanchez, and this placed such a strain on the club because there was a definite ceiling to how far they could develop. It's only a city of 250,000 people, and at one point when they were doing so well, they had 31,000, over 10% of the population were season ticket holders. But that wasn't a financial model that was really sustainable with them paying big wages and big transfer fees. So they've had to cut their cloth accordingly, and they're building up a side that's not as flashy, but very honest. And I think they look good to get into the Europa League. A great win at Getafe this weekend with only 9 men, which shows the great spirit they've got, as well as the flair of players like Guardado, and of course Juan Carlos Valladolid is still there, although he's been dogged by injury over the years. So it looks like they could be good for a top 5 or 6 place, which would be a real result for them and for Lotina. Well, thanks for joining us again. Please keep your questions and comments coming in. We'll include a few more of those over the weeks to come. You can follow me both here and on my own site, www.allornothingtv.net, and on Twitter. Hit me up on that by all means, twitter.com/Andy Brassell. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy the internationals at the weekend, and we'll see you again soon.